Hey guys, David here. Welcome to Digital Outlook, where you're gonna find the best community in all of crypto. In today's video, we've got regulation, adoption, and explosion. So guys, without further ado, why don't we get to it? So guys, right now, this entire space is all abuzz with regulation. Of course, when you're talking about this whole anti-money laundering bill that Elizabeth Warren is putting out there with a sheer-on attack against DeFi and DAOs, and come on guys, this has nothing to do with protecting the retail investor. This has to do with actually taking care of all of the establishment and making sure that they're A-okay. Then of course you've got the SEC, and what are they out doing? Well, the SEC is out there doing regulation by enforcement with all these various lawsuits, and especially when they're going against stable coins. I mean, with a stable coin, you're talking about an asset that's pegged to the dollar, and in most cases, those stable coins are like at what, 99.8, 99.9, somewhere in there, and they're not really, people aren't picking those things up in order to actually see, a return or a profit. There's no expectation of profit. So I don't know how on earth the Security and Exchange Commission actually feels that they get to have jurisdiction over that. I would think that would be more the CFTC or something like that. But needless to say, guys, the reality is, we need to have clear and focused, fair and transparent regulation. And even Brad Garlinghouse actually came out there just in the last few days saying, hey, look, the US, you are following so far behind with respect to the rest of the world when it comes to digital asset regulation that you are literally going to watch yourself get left in the dust if you don't actually pick up the pace and do something and do it quick. Now, having said that, I think that's where you and I, who are participants in this ecosystem, need to really get out there and actually make our voices known and write into our congressmen, I guess, or members of all these legislative bodies, to our senators and whatnot, and express to them really what are our points of view on this. And guys, hey, at least at that point they have that out there that they can incorporate that into their decision making. But I'll tell you what, it's like speak now or forever hold your peace, because they are right ready to have some amazing regulatory frameworks developed to govern this space. And I'm telling you what, you and I definitely want to have a voice in that. That is absolutely for sure. So when you take a look at the Blockchain Association and all the various lobbying groups for this space, you got to kind of ask yourself, are they working for us, or are they working for all these regulatory bodies and these old-time established institutions? And guys, sometimes it seems to me that it's pretty hard to really tell which side of the fence they're truly on, if they're really for innovation or are they there to protect the already established, way things are going. And I'm telling you guys, more and more, I'm actually more convinced that it seems to be the latter. They seem to actually be in bed with a lot of these folks, and it just doesn't make sense. I mean, look, they waited until the very last minute before they even filed any kind of an amicus brief in support of Ripple and their SEC versus SEC lawsuit. And they only did that, in my belief, when they saw the potential of a bad decision in this case, how it could affect like Ethereum and Bitcoin and all of those, right? And that's another thing that we need to address in this space when it comes to this regulatory framework. Guys, we have got to stop the infighting. The Bitcoin maxis, the XRP army, and the warring that goes on between. Because in actual fact, as far as I'm concerned, we're doing ourselves nothing but a massive disservice attacking one another's ecosystems, when really what we're all about is the moving forward of this distributed ledger technology space. Now, having said all that, we know regulation is definitely coming. Now, with regulation, guys, you need to think about something extremely important. We need it, because the reality is you are not going to see major or massive, and I'm talking about a great onboarding of institutional adoption without regulation. It is not going to happen, believe you me. These agencies, these older time houses, these investment firms, they're not going to go out there and put all that on the line and have that risk without some solid assurances. Because look, the FTXs and all the stuff that went on in that whole debacle, come on guys, to me it was almost a setup in order to actually bring about the regulatory framework that some of these folks want, right? So, you know, they set up a situation where they know darn well that a fraud is actually happening. And look, the SEC has investigators that go out there into the marketplace to ensure and to look into situations that don't quite, you know, pass the smell test. And so having been a federal officer myself in a regulatory agency in another country, I can tell you right now that there are intelligence gathering, and I believe that, you know, Gary Gensler was getting briefed about the whole FTX deal and the potential implosion that could come. And it's kind of like never let a good crisis go to waste deal, right? So what did they do? They didn't protect investors, did they? They didn't send any alarm bells off. They didn't even actually pursue the FTT token as a security. What they did, they allowed the whole thing to blow up until it literally blew up, right? And of course, that created a whole scenario and a context for them to come in with this heavy hand and start hammering like they are right now. Now, this whole staking deal with Kraken, there are a few different things out there that haven't been communicated, that where Kraken was actually developing products in such a way as to go against not just, you know, how the normal staking protocols work, but basically offering products, you know, with an expectation of profit. That is true. So in fact, they may have very well been breaching security laws. But the thing of it is, a $30 million fine? Come on, guys. Like I said before, that's just a slap on the finger versus the amount of liquidity and profit that Kraken made from people staking on their platform. And yet the SEC is going after Ripple for a $1.3 billion lawsuit. It's absolutely obscene. And it certainly appears that they are picking winners and losers. Now, the fact is, when you're dealing with most of these investment houses and you're talking about, you know, retirement funds, and we're talking multi-billions and billions, even trillions of dollars, yes, you are definitely going to need regulation before you get that massive institutional adoption. But guys, listen, when we get that massive institutional adoption, those of us that have been down here, buying down here, when the prices have been low, when it's been sub $1, even sub $5 really, you are going to see such a massive adoption and explosion into this space. It is going to blow people's minds and the whole game will be over. The massive, massive gains, the 1,000Xs, the 100Xs, the 50Xs, I think they're going to be off the table. Why? Because guys, the risk is going to be significantly reduced. And when the risk is significantly reduced with all that regulation and institutional adoption, what happens next? Well, guys, the reward is reduced. That's what happens. So right now, you've got all these things going on out there. And from my point of view, I'm thinking these are strategic to kind of shake people out of their positions, scare them from either getting in or scare them to get out. That's what's really going on. So don't be a bit surprised if in this case we actually see with the Ripple versus SEC. Now I believe there's high potential that Ripple could literally see a settlement, possibly a settlement, or win in summary judgment. But let's not forget, this whole thing could actually go to trial. And if it does go to trial, I'm thinking, guys, this whole dog and pony show has just been given Act 3, and it's going to take another little while before we see any real kind of change in this whole thing. Now, why would they do that? Well, in my way of thinking, guys, they would do that because they're not right ready to flip those switches. That's the only rationale I can actually think of that they would do that. I think in the end, Ripple is winning this thing hands down. Now, I pray, and it's my hope and expectation that they'll see it in summary judgment or potentially a settlement. But if not, guys, then we may potentially have to keep in the back of our mind, if the powers that be aren't ready to actually let this thing explode the way that we know it's going to, and they're not quite ready yet, then sure, we might be looking at a trial situation before this thing all gets settled. Now, hey, nobody wants that, but got to show that out there as a potential reality. But by and by, nonetheless, over time, give it a year, give it 2 years, give it 3, give it 5. I'm telling you what, the adoption in this space, the regulation that's coming is going to lead to massive, massive institutional adoption. And that institutional adoption is going to lead to one of the biggest blow-off explosions and greatest wealth transfers in the history of mankind. I genuinely believe that. And we are going to be ushered into this new digital economy full swing, with the whole ISO 222 messaging standard being fully employed, with the central bank digital currencies around the globe being fully released and being employed, and all of that, and of course our digital IDs, our healthcare, the proof of ownership for goods, the logistic of goods being shipped around the world. It is truly going to be absolutely mesmerizing, the change and the opportunities from this new digital age. Truly going to be mind-blowing. And just think of our social interaction and the metaverse and how that is going to have a massive, massive impact. It cannot be denied, guys. It's on the way. So you know, hey, look, when people were settling the West, and it was the Wild West, right? Why was it the Wild West? Well, because from village to village, town to town, there were all kinds of different regulations about various things, this, that, and the other thing. And hey, the punishment for various things was way different around. And then they had to come up with a common way of dealing with all that, right? And they started to write laws. They started to write regulations. There started to be, hey, a settling down of things. And then what happened, guys? We saw a major, major explosion with what? The advent of the railroad coming in, linking all of these various places together and things like that. So what you're seeing now in this fourth industrial revolution is you're seeing all the groundwork being laid. And right now, yeah, we are like those pioneers going out west and seeking our fortunes out on the new frontier. That's what we're like right now. And of course, hey, the greatest lion's share of those benefits fell to those trailblazers, those pioneers. But guys, after the pioneers, who came in? The settlers. They came in to settle these places, bringing all of their wealth, bringing all of their, desires for products and goods and things like that, innovation, all that came along with them. And that's what I believe is going to happen when institutional adoption takes place in this space. You are going to see the settlers all come in. And guys, it is going to settle down. But those of us that have been here early, wow, are we ever going to see something truly amazing take place? That is genuinely what I believe. So guys, I just hope you're ready for it. Buckle up. This is going to be the best and most exciting ride that you have ever been on. And the fact that we are actually getting to live through it is truly amazing in my point of view. And I think it's going to be absolutely stupendous. And I can't wait till we all cross that finish line. So guys, let me just take a few seconds to talk about our coaching program for those who don't know. With this next bull run coming up, you're definitely going to want to have your plan in place. And what our coaching program is, that is where you and I can meet personally one-on-one for 1 hour over Zoom. And during that time, I share with you our personal journey in that last bull run and what enabled Judy and I to experience some major financial success. I also share what mistakes we made so that you don't have to make the same ones that we did. We actually work together to develop your exit strategy, and we take a look at your portfolio to make sure that it's balanced towards your goals. We can even help you get your assets off an exchange and onto a hardware wallet, along with delivering to you some amazing techniques that will really help you in this space. Now, the cost of that is $250, and if that's something that interests you, you write me right there at coaching@thedigitaloutlook.com, and we'll get you all booked in. So guys, this is the video I have for you today, and as always, I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Now, I want to invite you to join the conversation and drop your comments right down there in the comment section open it up to the community and start a discussion. Now, many of you know I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. But if you found value in it, if you'd hit that like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Hey, don't forget about hitting that notification bell down there, because as you know, things in this space change absolutely lightning fast. And I like to get those messages out to you as soon as possible, along with the fact that I don't want you missing any of our regularly released videos. Now, if you're one of the thousands of people who have been watching these videos, but you haven't yet subscribed, would you do the channel a favor and join this community? We would really love to have you on board. So, in the meantime, and in between time, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll catch you in the next one.